Hey guys, I just wanted to talk to you about our trip to Florida so far. She's pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm not. And we had an experience of a lifetime yesterday traveling to Florida, and we'll just kind of recapture one of the worst traveling days probably in history. So we started out traveling to Kansas City, and she lives in Kansas City, or in Tonganoxie, so we met up. They had to drop their two boys, or her boy and her girl, with my parents for the week. And were you sad to say goodbye to your kids?
No. Not really.
Yeah. Okay. So they were a little sad. I was too excited. So we got on the road. We went to, of course, Lululemon. I had to get some clothes, stretchy clothes to fit over this little good dude. And then we headed to the airport, where everything went super smooth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have any problems. Got on the plane in Kansas City. We boarded late. Like, our flight was supposed to leave at 4:30. We boarded about 4:30. Right at 4:30. At 5 o'clock, we got told that the airline engine's not working right, and so they had to bring in maintenance, and they'll keep us updated. 6:30 p.m. rolls around, and finally the engine starts. So 6:30 p.m. we're already 2 hours delayed. We were having a great time though. Us three were just talking on the plane. We luckily got to sit together. So we're like, oh, this is fine. We'll, get there. That's what we want. We'll have the rest of the time. So the pilot says, all right, we should be landing shortly before 10 o'clock Eastern time. We're like, that's kind of late, considering we were supposed to land at 8:30. So we landed at 10, a little bit after 10. And at this time, we're pretty exhausted. You asked me to check to make sure that we don't lose our hotel room. So I called the hotel. It's like, hey, under Lawson, no confirmation, no reservation, don't have anything. I was like, well, I know I have a confirmation number. I'll call you back. So I am frantic at this point, kind of shaking. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't find the confirmation number, couldn't find the email, anything. So I was told Tesha, will you call and just see if it's under your name by chance? I don't know why it would be under your name. It was under her name, so we breathed a sigh of relief.
Yes.
And then your job was to get an Uber.
Yeah.
And you can tell us what happened on that.
Requested the Uber at probably 10:45. Because it took us about 25-30 minutes to get our bags, and then requested the Uber. Well, they don't run that late on a Monday night in Punta Gorda, so we then had to hightail it over to rent a car to get in a line that lasted another about 20 to 25 minutes to get to the front to get our car.
And by the way, during this time, Tesha and I are kind of really kind of frustrated. She is like,
I'm about ready to snap.
So
I don't like not being on time, especially when you pay for flights and they, this flight seemed to just charge you for every little thing.
It was Allegiant.
I didn't know if we could say that or not.
Yeah, we can say that.
How
about finding out that it was 2.5 hour drive instead of 45 minutes?
Oh,
yes. Yeah. So when I was booking this hotel, it said that it was a 45-minute drive from the airport to this hotel. When I looked it up on my phone to look at the fare estimate for the Uber, it said 1.5 hours. When Tesha called the hotel goes, the lady's like, oh, you won't get here in 1.5 hours. You're going to be shoreline. It's going to take you 2.5 hours. At this point, it was already 11 o'clock, and we were supposed to be in at 8:30. So it was just one thing after another. So we got in line for a rental car. I got on my phone trying to find a deal, and luckily we got a decent price for a rental car for the week because it's Monday through Friday. And it was positive because at least they had a car, right?
They had a car, yes. And it's a nice car. A 2016 Toyota Camry.
Yeah. Then, so we got loaded up, and it was 11:20 when we finally hit the road. Started driving, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is like pretty terrible day. And I go, the only thing that would make it worse is if we got pulled over. And I was like, well, luckily for me, I don't speed, so it'll be fine. And we were going in, we finally got into shoreline of Captiva. Well, the speed limit's 35, and it was, at this point, 1 in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
1 in the morning. So we're driving, and I'm going 42 in the 35. And there's no traffic, and
Pitch black.
yeah, it was really dark. And so I'm trucking along, I'm like, there's no traffic. I was like, I'm just gonna go to about 48. And then I saw another car turn in, and following. I was like, oh, not a big deal. And I was going 48, and I was like, if I get pulled over, 13 over, I was like, that's kind of high. So
And he would have pulled you over by then, because
yeah. And so I was driving, and the vehicle behind me it was gaining on me, but I didn't think too much. And so it was catching up. I was like, oh, I should probably go a little bit faster as a courtesy so he doesn't have to pass. So I got up to 50 miles an hour, and as soon as I did that, the lights went on, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. 1 in the morning, no other traffic was in sight, and the cop pulled me over. And I was
a very friendly cop.
I was defeated, and he took forever to come out of his vehicle, comes up, and he's like, you know you're going 50 in a 35? And I just go, yes, sir. And he's like, I just handed him my license, went back to his car for a long time, probably 5, 7, it seemed like 20 minutes at the time. And he goes back and he goes, well, here's your warning, but you gotta keep down to 35. You might run into some gators or some bobcats. And all 3 of us were like,
are you serious?
what? And at this point, our whole vacation had turned into bedtime stories where whatever you say is coming true. So I'm like, I hope we see a gator across the street. But we never did. That was the only disappointing thing. That was like what we were looking forward to.
So we find the resort, and we pull up to the front desk, and we all get out and start talking to the concierge, and she's everything's running smoothly. She's giving us a room key, she's giving us directions on how to get around the resort and all the amenities that we have, and and she tells us, she goes, to get to your villa, you go through the first stop sign, and then you take a left. As she said, take a left at the second stop sign.
No, the first time was take a left at the first stop sign. Take a left at the stop sign.
Yeah, and none of the buildings were ours. So then we go back to the front desk, because it was just right down the street, and we send Tess in, and she said,
we shouldn't have sent the youngest one in.
No.
She told me.
She said, take a left at the second stop sign, is what Tess had told us. So we get through the first stop sign, and we're driving probably a mile down the road, and we're like, we do not see a stop sign. So then we call back to the front, and we say, we never saw the second stop sign. She goes, no. I said, turn left after the first stop sign. So at the next place. So we get to our villa, we walk into our room. There's 3 of us.
2 very pregnant women.
I'm not very pregnant, just kind of.
1 bed. At this point, I am done. Like, I am about ready to get on a plane and go back home, because I'm done. And so Mallory calls the front desk.
Because I'm a good protective sister.
And she said, I am pretty sure I reserved a room with at least 2 beds in it. And so they ended up giving us a complimentary upgrade to now we have 3 beds in our room. So we ended up having to wait in our regular room for security to bring us our room keys and to come get our bags, which is another 20 minutes. So we finally get to our room and we get to bed and it's 2:30 in the morning. So needless to say, it was one of the roughest traveling days of my life.
But it was great memories that we're gonna have and cherish for the rest of our lives.
Give me a couple weeks before I can laugh about it.
The only thing I can tell you, traveling wise, is my round ligament pain has been really bad, and it hurts really bad to walk. And if I sit a really long time, I kind of waddle a little bit. I will probably go to the chiropractor when I get back from this vacation, just because I hurt so bad. And how's your pregnancy? She's 31 weeks.
Almost 32.
Almost 32 weeks, and she has a lot of more fatigue than I do. I have quite a bit more energy than her.
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot of energy. Can't eat a whole lot, so I don't have a whole lot of room. Have indigestion. Just not feeling the greatest, but it's fun to be out in the sun. It's fun to relax and kind of have my own schedule too. So
Tomorrow we're really excited. Tomorrow we're gonna try paddle boarding and boogie boarding and just have a great time on the resort. So I will keep you updated, and hopefully some great pictures and videos will follow.